This is the emergency podcast system. This is not a test. Movies are bombing all over the country. They are posing as movies you already know. They may already be in your theaters, your neighbor's home, or even your own. Do not panic. Specialists have been dispatched. They will help you identify these pretenders and defend you against this invasion of the remake. Please stand by for further instructions.
And welcome to the Invasion of the Remake podcast. I am your host, Jason Bishop, because who else would I be? Like, really? And I was created from cloth and the sinew of dead animals because...
And pure hate.
And
yeah.
Pure hate for all that is good in this world.
You need that pure hate. You gotta get it distilled or it just doesn't work.
And comic books.
Yeah.
Yeah, must I forget those.
Distilled hate and comic books.
I don't know how they did it, but they did it.
And with a mild touch of whimsy.
And with me today, as always, is the... I don't know, what were you created out of? Clay and knock-knock jokes?
No. A lot of hate and sarcasm, really, when I think about it.
Trish Coughlin, everybody.
Yeah, and dirty thoughts if you've heard this podcast.
And more hate.
Yes.
More hate. There's a lot of hate. Not me.
I love everybody.
Until they piss you off.
Until they piss me off. It is a hair trigger.
It really is.
There's a
isn't it?
thin line.
Hey, Sam Stepanenko?
Yeah.
That's me. Yes.
That's you. How are you?
I'm good, and I don't know what the hell I was made out of.
He was knitted from the tapestry of humanity.
Yeah, there we go.
Ooh. That's deep.
I know,
That's
right?
deep. Let's never do that again. Let's
Sorry.
never get that philosophical. That's
Okay,
just
maybe
sewing up the show.
I was made with the touch of whimsy. I'm not sure now.
Yeah. Starting to wonder.
Today we are talking about Weird Science. We're going to remake Weird Science from 1985, written and directed by the king of the 80s, John Hughes, starring Anthony Michael Hall as Gary Wallace. Is it
Ilan?
Ilan?
I think it's Ilan.
Ilan Mitchell Smith as Wyatt Donnelly, Kelly LeBrock as Lisa, Judy Aronson as Hilly, Bill Paxton, the late Bill Paxton, we miss you, buddy, Chet Donnelly, Suzanne Snyder as Deb, and a very young Robert Downey Jr. with Robert Russell as Ian and Max, and Vernon Wells. Gotta give a mention out to the Lord General Vernon Wells in pretty much reprising his Road Warrior role, and Michael Berryman for just being creepy in everything.
Awesome,
he
Michael
is in.
Berryman.
Yes, and a teacher.
Yeah, one of my favorite roles of his. I just loved him in this.
Yeah, he didn't get much to the lines, but boy, the camera held on to him for that time. Like,
He's got such a unique look.
Yeah.
He's like, please don't tell anybody I'm a teacher.
Yeah, just the look on his face, like, just can you keep this between us? And then there's
This is what he does on weekends.
I lose my teaching job, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna lose my teaching job. Oh, okay, bye guys.
He terrorizes children's homes in his off hours.
Yeah. Hey, I'm guessing if you've been a teacher for a while, this is probably just like a little bit of a dream to do sometimes.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some teachers out there going, geez, I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, no, this is good. It was one of my favorite movies when I was a teenager. Love this movie. And in rewatching it, I still love this movie, just for the record.
Yeah, like it's sort of, some of the stuff hasn't aged well, but I still quite enjoy it.
Structurally, and most of the jokes are still timely. Like they're not specific to the 80s. The look and the feel were certainly, but the jokes were, I mean, they still would play today. Most of them.
Some of them.
Yeah, this movie feels so 80s, and I don't think it's aged particularly well in look or tone, but, I don't think I was overly... Like, I don't dislike the movie. I saw it a couple of times when I was younger, but it certainly wasn't really my bag. If it wasn't for Kelly LeBrock, like really, that's what kept me coming back. Teenage hormones.
Well, it's. I kept watching it because I liked Lisa like as a character.
Yeah.
I thought she was a lot of fun. And it was early in Robert Downey Jr., so I'm like, okay, he's an ass, but he's entertaining. But I kind of really liked the story between them, where she like takes these poor guys and
on a roller coaster,
on a roller coaster and helps them out. Like she's not doing. This is the weird thing. She's also there's these whole undercurrent of they own her and control her, but she's pretty uncontrollable.
She's kind of like the archetype of the empowered yet sexy female.
She's a genie,
Yeah.
I think. She's
she really is.
Technological genie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just the way the creators is literally impossible.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's batshit, and that's the best part about it is it's so out there that it's completely unbelievable, and that's what makes it funny, right?
Yeah. Oh, and it is. It doesn't take itself too seriously. John Hughes wrote this script in 2 days, and
Yeah.
I'm guessing was high as a fucking kite when he did it.
Well, and it's weird because watching this again, like it's a tight movie. A lot happens in a short period of time. It's one weekend. So it goes from A to B to Z. Like they get from being at the beginning to making Lisa within the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, it does not take long.
Yeah, no, it actually everything happens pretty quickly, after we establish the characters, and they're not well liked at school. They're just the typical nerd guys.
Yeah,
And,
bullied.
being bullied. Although they certainly
They're
welcome
creepy.
yeah, the bullies are creepy. Well, when they make friends with them, they make friends awfully quickly when they start showing the secrets of how they made Lisa. I'm like, what? These guys just poured Slurpees on you earlier in the day.
And pants you at the very beginning of the movie.
But that's your stereotypical 80s movie where the evil guy will pretend to like you to get something out of you.
Yeah,
that's
I don't know.
the stereotypical 80s
history,
movie.
though. Did you guys not remember? Do you have like the history of a goldfish?
Look, okay, here's the thing.
memory of the goldfish.
I
Like,
had
seriously.
a shitty childhood. I was bullied a lot, but there was a lot of times I was taken in by people being nice to me just because I wanted to be liked. It's when you're young, you're that gullible. You haven't been hurt enough to learn that lesson well enough by then.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe when I was younger, because I was a bit of a nerd guy, but at the same time, I was kind of welcomed in most circles. And if somebody was giving me grief, usually you get into a fight and then you're friends for a few weeks because that's a bonding thing with guys.
It really is, yeah.
And then you start ignoring each other again.
No.
I think part of it too is, I think these guys are starting to sort of come into their own, and they're seeing it's an opportunity to humiliate these guys too by making them wear the bras on their head and just do like the whole ritual. There's an opportunity to make.
Yeah, the pointless ritual means nothing.
That's right,
See,
and they know that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're doing it just to sort of get their digs in.
Sure.
See, and I don't really see it like that. I think they think they're bonding with the cool guys. They're still kind of that dumb, which is why Lisa's mad at them. Because she's like, you had to show off because you're being idiots. These guys don't like you. They don't legitimately like you. What the fuck are you doing?
There's some of that. Certainly, yeah, they are showing off, right? Showing that how much better they are than these guys and what they can do versus what these two guys who really aren't very fucking bright. I mean, they're your stereotypical 80s mean guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? And they were written as the stereotypes, like right down.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, like they're
the 80s
very
bullies.
deliberate, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this movie was based on the Weird Science comic book from the 50s from EC. If anybody wants to know what EC stands for, it stands for Entertaining Comics. And they used to publish things like Tales from the Crypt and Weird Science and crime suspense stories, all sorts of cool stuff. And Joel Silver had picked up the rights to make feature films and television of all that material. So he had the rights to the name, and that's where this kind of came from. It was loosely based on a story from issue 5 of Weird Science called
Made from the Future.
Made from the Future.
I remembered. Oh,
Nice. So, like,
I made Sam, I'm like, remember this, I won't.
I have just one more question, though. So you're saying that Joel Silver kind of had the access to make from all that EC catalog, or no?
he just had the film rights.
Just the film rights
Film and TV
for
rights.
their cartoon, their comic books.
Yeah,
the Weird
for-
Science comic books.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, for the library.
For the
so the
entire
entire
library,
EC
yeah.
library.
That was my question.
Yeah,
I'm like,
by the
did he have a
time-
huge amount?
Yeah, by the time this rolled around, EC was gone.
Okay.
And being republished through licenses with other companies like Gladstone. So, like, EC didn't exist anymore
Okay.
at this point. So, probably getting the rights were probably cheap and easy to get at that
For
point
sure.
in time. Probably not realizing the value of that. And,
Yeah.
I mean, just how many seasons they got out of Tales from the Crypt alone.
Oh yeah,
And there was
love
a,
that show.
There was a Weird
Love that
Science
show.
television series, and, you know, they still dive into that from time to time. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Weird Science television series would have been a lot better if they hadn't tried to base it off the movie instead of.
I honestly don't remember it.
I remember watching it. I remember watching maybe 1 or 2 episodes and not enjoying it.
Yeah, no, because I think it would have been better as a
Anthology,
type series rather taking from the rest of the Weird Science stories instead of from
Yeah.
this movie, which was a freaking blast. I still love this movie. I
Yeah.
had so much fun watching it.
Well, between this and April Fool's Day, like it feels like we're going through a fashion history of my own.
Holy
the
cow.
80s.
Yeah.
Some of this stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember looking at what they're wearing, and going like, oh, I'd like that outfit, and wearing some of those things.
The fashion in this was like the fashion, the hair. It was
Yeah.
so 80s. Like, there is nothing they were wearing that we wear now. Like, it is
Oh, I don't know.
nuts.
Some of the stuff came back a bit here and there.
Ugh.
I'm not lying. The 80s did a little bit of a rollback.
Well, you know, at least I got to admire the color palettes of the 80s.
There's definitely some of that.
Well, it was all sharp edges and weird things like belts that went into like tight, like kind of angular, triangular corners, and gloves that were lace but had like the fingers cut off, and everything was suspenders, like girls' dresses. I remember skirts with suspenders and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
I remember all that. I'm sorry, I still like the jackets that the two bad guys are wearing. I thought they're
Those were all right.
Yeah,
Like I say, they come back.
And the cars that they were driving,
Yeah.
the high end cars were gorgeous.
They were very fun.
They're still very nice. I would totally see myself driving one of those today, except I can't afford those cars. Neither could they, because that's the way they whipped them out of thin air.
Yeah, because she can have whatever she wants. Like I
Yeah.
say, a genie.
Yeah,
She is essentially a genie. Now,
Yeah.
she was made from, like, cutouts of a magazine and
Which they just scanned in.
Yeah, they're scanning in all sorts of things. Pictures of Albert Einstein, and
Yeah, she's a composite.
she's
And
a composite
Mozart.
of all sorts of the things they idolize. So the nerdy things and the hot chicks and that
Intelligence.
15-year-old boys are attracted to, and
I still love the line where he's like, well, they're debating whether to make her smart and give her a brain. And the one guy, he's actually thinking about it, but the other guy's like, oh, sure, make her smart. We can play chess with her.
Yeah.
Like, he thinks broader than what
Yeah.
the other guy is thinking.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, Gary is definitely the hormonal-driven one, whereas Wyatt's kind of more cerebral and uptight. He's far more uptight. But I love the bit after that too, where they're programming her in, and they're programming her IQ, and there's like 5th grade reading level, boring as shit, right, or dumb
Yeah.
as shit, or something like that. I'm like, that was funny.
Exactly. They're like, no, we can't do that. Like, it's just, this would get even creepier in certain ways, because it would be like, okay, so we've made a really hot woman who's kind of mentally handicapped. Like, that's real bad.
yeah.
You're taking advantage of somebody who probably can't consent.
Yeah. Well, let's run the trailer for this, and we'll come back and decide whether they actually had sex with her or not.
That's not a bad idea.
What?
Making a girl. Actually making a girl.
This is Wyatt and Gary.
I give her warm digis mammary glands.
Something's about to change their world. Something out of this world.
She's alive! Alive! What would you little maniacs like to do first?
It's all in the name of science. Weird science.
If you want to be a party animal, you have to learn to live in the jungle.
Not us.
Not here.
No way.
She is turning their lives,
Trust me for once, will you?
What is going on?
Gary, I don't know. I don't know.
their minds, and their house. upside down.
It's seriously affecting your sex life.
It's completely unnatural.
Do you realize it's snowing in my room?
Totally unbelievable.
What's going on?
And definitely weird.
Hey, dudes.
They went from zeros to heroes in one fantastic weekend.
That's so good.
Universal Pictures presents a John Hughes film, Weird Science.
It's purely sexual.
All right. So did they have sex with her? I don't think so.
No, they showered with her, and Wyatt made out with her.
They got a little scared, I think.
Wyatt made out with her, and then he was talking about women's gymnastics, and she was doing her gymnastics routine, and he fell asleep.
Yeah. Yeah, so, no, they didn't.
I think she was actually a little disappointed half the time.
Well, it's weird. Like, I think she knows, like, this is what I was brought in here for.
Is to give them that confidence, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
And she realizes it's a confidence thing, not...
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, they just want something more, and that's what I'm going to give them, whether they like it or not.
Yes.
And there is a lot of whether they like it or not in there. It's a lot of fun. My favorite scene in the whole movie has got to be the bar scene.
The blues scene?
The blues bar scene. I love that scene. It's just because it already starts to show their
Where
growth.
Anthony Michael Hall's pretending to be a black man?
Yes.
Yeah, that one is like, what?
Yeah, there's some
What
stuff
is
in
that
there that
voice?
comes off. I don't know what it is. It's like...
I'm sad, Lisa. Like, it's Cartman. He's doing Cartman.
Except that Cartman does him because Anthony Michael Hall was doing it way before. But it's
He was jive talking after getting hit in the balls?
Yeah, he got kicked in the balls by this woman. But I don't know. I like when Lisa walks in, they're like, I don't think we're supposed to be here. She's like, what? It's a public place. And she just saunters in.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. She has that aura about her where she's like, no, I'm here to have fun and enjoy myself. And
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the
I don't
epitome of
care where I am.
confidence, right?
Yeah.
And people just enjoy her because she's like, no, she's here to have fun.
Yeah.
She's not.
But it also gets them
hung up on
engaging
anything.
with the crowd as well in the bar, and they make friends with these
Yeah.
adults in the bar. I mean, they got these most ridiculous fake IDs that she created for them
Yeah.
just to get into the bar,
Yeah.
and it's not like
We're not
it's-
21. You're 21 and you're 21.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like everything about this movie is stereotype after stereotype after
Oh, yeah.
stereotype.
Sure.
And I mean, part of it was unquestionably John Hughes poking fun at stereotypes and his own movies to
Oh,
a certain
yeah.
Sure.
extent. I mean, like you said, he wrote it in 2 days. He was just having fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just enjoy that scene because it does. It already shows some of their growth right off the bat. Their first time out with Lisa, and they're gaining that confidence through interacting with adults. Some
Yeah.
very cool adults. Like I mean, that was the whole idea.
Yeah.
These guys are cool guys, right?
Yeah.
Right, and so they're making these friends with these cool guys.
Yeah, and they turn up again
Yeah.
to help with the big party
Yeah.
Yeah.
later on. So
Yeah, so yeah, no, I like it, and the car scene with my nuts is halfway at my ass, but other than that, I'm perfect.
Yeah, you gotta do it in the voice.
I can't do the voice.
halfway on my ass, but other than that, I'm perfect.
yeah, he
That's
suddenly has a
exactly
weird...
how he says it.
And I mean, that might be his drunk voice because he was loaded, right?
Yeah. But I love how Lisa's like, I told him to stay away from that stuff.
Yeah.
And the party's over when he knocks shit over. She's like, we gotta go. She knows when to call it. Like, she's a party animal, but she knows when to call it.
Yeah. Although, sometimes I was questioning her judgment too. Like, well, why did you take Gary back to his parents just to traumatize them?
Yeah.
That I don't know. It's a weird standalone scene.
It's weird because it seems like completely out of character for Lisa. Like, she pulls out this crazy big magnum, which turns out to be a realistic looking squirt gun, but
Well,
still,
not quite.
She's pulled. I mean,
I think
it's
she
a
wanted
genie
it to
gun.
she wanted it to be a squirt gun at that point, but it was a real gun probably
Later
at the
on.
parents.
And later on,
It's whatever she wants it to
we
be.
think he's holding the squirt gun when he's frightening off the road warriors, and it turns out to be a real gun.
I
so.
think what that was supposed to be, what it was trying to accomplish, was Gary was very much under the thumb of his parents. And I think it was her trying to like just blow everything up just to get him out of there. But the funny bit, I love this. This is the other bit I kind of really enjoy.
I'm worried about when he goes back because his dad's so
Yes.
traumatized that he's completely forgotten about his son exists.
No, they're not traumatized. She just wiped their memory of it.
Okay.
Completely wiped it, yeah.
That's all she
I
did.
must have got up and grabbed something at that point because I couldn't figure out how that happened.
Yeah, no, she made them forget.
Because they
Okay.
don't remember her. Because the way it kind of comes up is the mom's like, do you think Gary was acting a little weird this evening. He's like, who's Gary? Like, the mother doesn't remember any of this.
Yeah.
And neither does the father.
It just went bad for...
The point was just
for
to, like,
Dad.
have Gary kind of just traumatize him out of, I guess, being
She was trying to break him
subjugated.
free of his parents to a certain extent because they were very controlling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were.
And that's why he was. That's why he was a geek, right? Isn't because he isn't that smart. I mean, why is the smart one? I think it's more
He
that
gets good grades, too. She says that.
Yeah, he gets good grades, but in comparison to Wyatt, I mean, but he's also.
Well, it's why it's Gary's harebrained scheme to build a woman in the first
Yeah.
place. And they both think they can do it, which is even weirder.
Yeah.
I think this started off as the idea they wanted to do a simulation, and it just kind of got out of hand. They didn't. I don't
Yeah.
think they realistically thought this was going to happen.
No,
they
yeah,
didn't.
they were just having fun, and I think it was meant to be a computer program.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gary even says, "I know, but at least we can interact with it and get used to talking to women." Right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that was what he says.
We can ask it questions,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and of course he says put it in real fucked up sexual situations and see how it reacts.
Yes, yeah.
Like, he
'Cause,
is
he's repressed, and I think that's where the whole back to the parent thing is. His parents are responsible for that repression and his lack of confidence because
Well-
they're constantly putting him down. Right? His mom's a milquetoast and his dad's an asshole.
Yeah, and well, that's the whole Lisa says, like, I think he deserves a party. He gets good grades, he does good stuff, and his only sexual outlet is tossing off to magazines in the bathroom just to freak out his parents. She's like, this guy deserves a party. He does good. He's a good kid, and you don't even care. Like, you don't acknowledge he's a good kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it was all about, was trying to develop Gary's character a little bit more, sort of his background, because you kind of get a lot of Wyatt's just through his interactions with Chet.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Right, like you sort of understand why Wyatt is as repressed and uptight as he is, because he's got this obnoxious, horrible older brother.
Oh God, yeah. So is he just home visiting from the military? The parents are away.
He came back from college
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
stay the weekend while his parents were away to watch Wyatt.
Okay.
That was
Yeah.
that was
Was
his
it
only-
military college?
No, he went to military school though.
Okay.
Because that could also be the other thing where it's Wyatt. That's why Wyatt also was very uptight, because his parents don't trust him to do anything. Like, his brother
Yeah,
has
they
to
say-
come
he
home
says
to
so.
watch him, and he's 15.
Yeah.
You don't need a babysitter at that time.
Although, his older brother Chet isn't really around for those fun hours.
No.
So I'm not sure where he is in
He-
the evenings, but
He went out. He went out hunting for the weekend.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
so he
he's-
came home and then went off hunting.
He's told his parents he's watching Wyatt, but he doesn't do anything. Like, his parents believe him, but he's a fucking liar.
no,
he just
and
does what he
just-
wants.
If the kid does, if his little brother does something, he just extorts him for whatever cash he's got. And
Yeah, like, his parents are really, really clueless in that they think that Chet is this good kid and Wyatt isn't, and it's ridiculous.
It's completely the other way around.
Yeah.
Right. It's. I mean.
I think there's a wee bit of responsibility for Chet. Like, at one point there was that one point where he's like, get these girls home. Their parents are probably worried sick, and I'm like, okay, he's got like just a sliver of humanity in him.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's the only redeeming line he says in the whole movie.
It is. It really is the only
Because he
redeeming
calls
line.
them like harlots, and like he degrades them as well.
Oh, yeah.
So it's
He
kind
hits
of like,
one in the head with the barrel of a shotgun.
and he says she's going to walk out with a severe limp. Like, he's freaking violent. And
No, he says a lot of shit. He never actually does it.
no, but to threaten somebody with walking out with severe limp, and
Yeah.
also to put a gun
that's a crime.
to put a gun in their face is a fucking crime.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think if in the remake, like, you got to have a few more hints that he's not that much of an asshole, and all it takes to turn him is to turn him into a toad.
Yeah, well, I think he should be mainly focused on being an asshole to his brother.
Yeah, but he hates Gary as well because he's his brother's friend.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly it. Because I mean, there's this scene where he sees his grandparents in the closet, and he's very nice to them too. He's like, right, hi, Gramps, and then he realizes that they're like in stasis.
Yeah, I'm not an idiot. But I love Lisa's lines like, yeah, no, they're happy. And be honest, I don't think they were having very much fun at the party.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, like the dialogue, it's really strong. I mean, yes, it's dated and there's lots to be updated, but as far as the actual dialogue, you don't need to change much to bring it up to today. Really,
Yeah, there's some good bits.
Stylistically, I mean, if you're going to update this movie, honestly, you could have it maybe start with like they're developing an app for their phone or something.
Yeah, and
So they can have this portable on-demand response for these female situations.
Yeah,
and maybe even
which is
that'll-
genius. We should do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which would in itself would that's the way it starts actually, because in itself could be pretty funny.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Or it could help these introverts who have trouble starting conversations with women. You get some smart women to contribute and say, yeah, no, I'll help, right? I mean, 'cause you can't have guys like Jay and me doing it because we don't know anything about women.
No.
Right?
Well, you know something about women, but you know enough to
we
be
know
like...
enough to know we don't know anything.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
you know
we're
enough
smart
to-
enough that we're guys that we're never going to get it.
But yeah, like, I don't know, have it Siri gone horribly awry. Like, I like the magical element of it, where it could be like
Yeah.
an app they've created, but that magical thing happens
And that
becomes
shows
real.
and that shows that they're really smart. Like, and maybe they can monetize this.
Yeah.
So they're thinking on that regards as well. And then maybe it is that magical lightning bolt Frankenstein thing.
Yeah.
Because it's Frankenstein that inspires them in the first place. And maybe something happens, lightning hits the phone, or I don't know. But could just be as simple as that. You know, they left the phone on the porch, lightning hits it, boom.
Yep. Something.
Yeah.
Although the crazy stuff where reality just goes wonky when they're doing their ritual to make her in the first
there's
place
gotta
is
be
kind of
something like
fun.
that.
It is kind of fun.
It
and
is kind of fun.
You could still kind of work that in somehow. I mean, maybe they're accessing some sort of psychological database to sort
Yeah.
of make it more intuitive. And while they're tied in, something happens. A nuclear explosions or something. I don't know.
Or you can have, they are creating an app, and that is a whole thing, and then it's like a whole her thing where they wish she was real, and then they just do, like you say, they do a stupid ritual just to kill some time, but don't realize it's an actual ritual.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it inadvertently, they don't realize that they've done something. Like, I think that would be fun, where they've created her and they try to recreate it, but they don't get it right, of course.
Well, I don't know, but they don't get that scene later on where they do try to recreate it, and then reality goes wonky at the party.
Yes.
They do try to recreate it. Reality goes wonky, but they also have the bit where it's a missile
Because
that
they
comes out.
forgot the doll, yeah.
Yeah, so they didn't do the right thing. So that would be where they do it kind of wrong.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Is they've got this working app and it's interacting really well, but they're going, well, I wish we had we could like really interact with it. And then they start goofing off and they accidentally do this ritual with the doll.
Yeah.
And that's how you get your real Lisa.
Real
right?
Lisa. And instead of like a Persian missile, it's like a Pokemon Go or something like that.
Yeah. Something culturally relevant now, yeah.
Something culturally relevant that comes to life, and they're like, oh no, this happened.
Yeah, no, I like that.
And that's the thing they have to defeat at the party.
It could still be Time Magazine, except it's a picture of Trump and then there's a thong. It'd just be horrible. The worst nightmare possible.
Okay, we've just turned it into a horror movie. Stop being a comedy, guys.
We just terrified Trish. Way to go, Jay.
All right, let's keep
I would rather
politics out
have
of it.
sex with Chet as a toad.
I called him a shit pus monster.
Because it's weird. It's toadish, but he still has his face and his hair.
Yeah, and
I love the hair.
and he is oozing and
burping and farting and
yeah.
But I love how when she's talking to Chet about it, and she's like, well, what have you done to your brother? Well, you've done all these sorts of things. You've extorted money. He's like, that's done out of love. Just for that, I ought to give you a set of elephant balls. And I'm like, I love that idea where she's like, don't fucking justify it to me, you little dick. You're wrong, you idiot.
I just turned you into this thing. Don't fuck with me.
Yeah, because he calls her a dumb bitch. She's like, oh, don't make me angry.
yeah, it's so much fun. I want to watch it again now, actually.
Really, and I love the bit with and then they have the evil. It's Mad Max.
Yes,
that's who all these guys are.
And that one, when I was watching, I'm like, that's going to be definitely one of the items that's going to be tough to work in because it is very dated.
Yeah, it is. Well, not as much as we're just a few years out from Fury Road.
That's true.
Instead of the doll, it is a Blu-ray version of Fury Road.
I mean,
there we go.
It was essentially Vernon Wells was essentially the same character down to his costuming.
Yeah.
So you could literally have these characters pulled out of the Blu-ray.
With the exception, it wasn't a young boy on the chain; it was a young woman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because they're like, yeah, we can't do that here.
Yeah,
that's
so
true.
I don't know. I mean, it could be Immortan Joe or
Yeah. Well, you have the guy. I love the guy with like the half metal face.
yeah.
Where it's like that electronic roar.
Kind of Terminator. That was
cackle.
kind of I think a Terminator kind of reference. Too.
I think so. That wasn't good though.
See,
No.
I thought it was funny because at the very end he's like, "Call me, we'll do lunch." Like he's really.
Yeah, no, it just wasn't. Well, I mean, it was well done for the time.
Well, you can make it as still a gang of mixed with more modern pop culture references. I mean,
pop culture bad guys. Yeah,
yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
Fury Road's huge still. I think
Yeah.
so. It's not that far out if we did it right away. But
if you want to work it in, you could have it like that's the thing that stands in for the doll. Is it's this Mad Max people? That's who they bring to life the second time, and they don't realize it. But Lisa just doesn't help them because that way they would exist. It's not just her doing her magic. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. I got the feeling that these guys were real people that were put into a Road Warrior setting and were
They
just
were.
playing their characters.
Because he was a teacher.
Yeah, so like, well, oh, he does exist.
yeah. It's. I like where Trish is going, but yeah, I think it removes some of that humanizing element at the end of the conversation
Yeah.
Yeah.
or the interaction there because
Yeah,
there's
you're right.
yeah.
Because I was trying to figure out a way to do it, but yeah, it has to be, I think, a whole thing because the whole point of it was to have them stand up to these guys, to like put them in a situation where they have no choice. Either they are cowards forever, or this is where they do it.
That's right. I mean, you could have some fun as she could be pulling these characters literally, like the look of the characters literally out of posters
Yeah.
from Wyatt's Wall.
Yeah, and I think
yeah.
that's it. Like, there should be references to all this stuff that's happening within the world that Wyatt and Gary live in. So, because, yeah, you don't have to create them whole cloth because she's got the inspiration. It's right there. And these are things that they would react to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would give that sort of that little bit of an element where Gary and him, they are standing up to him because it does feel kind of like a movie maybe in their heads a bit. So they're like, well, I guess this is what's happening now.
Yeah, and with modern effects and makeup and stuff, you can do all sorts of things. I mean, you can have, like, some of their favorite characters show up to the party. Like, hey, welcome to the party, Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Jay-Z, Beyonce.
Who
what
knew
happened?
he makes such a great margarita?
Ooh. And part of that is all these kids are like, do you realize Jay-Z and Beyonce are at this party?
Yeah, see, that'd be even better. Is like those people who are actually like really culturally relevant to everybody at the
Sure.
party, right?
And they're like, these guys, how do we not know these guys were so cool?
yeah,
And it
like freaking Ed Sheeran is out there having a beer with them, and
Lady Gaga.
yeah,
yeah, exactly. Like these people are brought in, and all these high school kids are like, these guys know these people? Holy shit.
Yeah, if you're going to want to have a party that impresses their school friends, that's
and the
one way
entire
to do
teen
it.
community, really, because I
Yeah.
mean, these
Yeah.
kids are from all over the place.
Yeah.
I love that scene when they when
I think more people showed up into that party that actually live in that town.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, because they're all they still live in Sherman Oaks. That's where all John Hughes movies
Yes.
are, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, when she opens the door and after the doorbell rings, she goes hi, and everybody goes hi.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so
It's silly, but it's
silly
fun.
and fun. I mean, this is a movie that you're never intended to make seriously and take seriously, and I think that's why I enjoy it so much because there is nothing in it that you are supposed to take seriously.
No, and I think you just embrace the idiocy a bit
Yeah.
and bring it to the modern times. You can be a little crasser. I mean, this was PG-13 and it still had
Yeah.
nudity, so go for it.
Yeah.
Mild nudity, and then they're in the shower with
Well, the
shorts on.
the chick who was playing the piano who got slowly stripped through.
Yeah,
the
that one I
suction.
was like, really?
She was actually a Playboy pet that did it, and she did the whole stunts and everything. So.
Oh, okay, that explains a
Yeah.
lot because I was watching this whole thing and I was like, oh, I wonder if this actress was like sitting there like, oh, this is my big break. And that's all it is. She's playing heart and soul.
In the 80s, that's a lot of the times girls did get hired just to show their tits.
Yeah, yeah.
Teen comedy. I mean, you got to get it into at least your one shot in on, pardon the pun, on every PG-13 movie because
Yeah, they were either allowed 2 swear words or some nudity. Let's
Yeah.
take the nudity.
That was boobs.
Yeah.
yeah,
Except for Chet's bum. We got to see Bill Paxton's bum.
Oh yeah, you got the Bill Paxton bum and her breasts.
So at least the girl's got a bum.
Yeah.
Or the homosexual.
But I mean, you can totally do more now. I mean, and you could I mean, this would work just as fine. Our ratings are starting to make a comeback again. And, I mean, you kind of need them for a sex comedy anyway. So,
Yeah.
I mean, this is more of a coming-of-age story.
It really is a coming-of-age story that's cloaked in the guise of a sex comedy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it loses the guise of the sex comedy pretty early in the film.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have to go like too crass because I mean,
I don't think you should.
You just keep the heart of it, really.
Yeah, I think I'd keep it a PG-13 like it already was.
Because I mean, the whole point of the story really was for Gary and Wyatt, to get the attention of these two girls that they've been pining after.
You want to give them both cowboy names?
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. They're both pining after Deb and Hilly. Right?
Yeah.
Or these two girls that they've never spoken to.
Yeah, they've just been pining for from afar.
Yeah.
But then you have like
But
Deb and
it's-
Hilly are
yeah.
dating these assholes because these
And they know
assholes
they're
are
assholes.
Yeah,
but
they
these
do.
assholes are popular. So like
And they don't
they've
wanna
fallen
lose
into that
their
whole
social
thing.
circle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They're like,
Yeah.
we'll just go into a social coma, and I'm like, yeah, like they don't really want to be with them, but yeah, they're in this unfortunate circumstance where they're sad enough that they want to be popular.
Yeah, but they're you can tell they're on the limit. There's that scene in the mall after they dump the slushies on them that they're mad. Right? They're really mad at them, and then of course they're gawking after Lisa when she walks by.
Yep.
And that just adds to their frustration with them.
Oh, they completely abandoned them.
Yeah.
They go chasing after Lisa through the mall like they're a few steps behind their girlfriends and then they're gone.
Yeah.
But then there's
There's
also
no repercussions for that?
no, they're idiots. But there's this great moment at the like when they meet Wyatt and Gary. Deb and Hilly meet Wyatt and Gary in the bathroom because Wyatt has stomach troubles. So they meet them, and then Lisa kind of figures out that they've met them as she figures out who they are and what they could be to Gary and Wyatt. And so she just feeds them that little thing. Yeah, if you get a chance, shower with them.
It's mind blowing.
Yeah, it's a mind scrambler.
The mind scrambler, that's it. Yeah.
And I'm like, but you can see like Lisa's like, yeah, no, this is what's going to work out. I have an idea.
Yeah.
And she kind of likes them. And the
Yeah.
girls aren't. The other thing is
They're
the
not
girls,
mean.
They're not mean about
No.
Lisa. They're like, oh, she she's beautiful and holy crap, like she's so cool. Like they don't, there's no.
Yeah, I got the feeling even the girls had a crush on her.
Yeah, and that's like I think that's like a lovely idea where they're threatened in a certain way because she is just really cool. Like
I
it's
think
just
they're
the whole
used to
thing
being
about her.
the most beautiful girls in the room within their own age
And they
group.
feel threatened, but they're not mean about it. There's no mean girl syndrome for these girls.
No.
No.
Right.
No.
And there couldn't be, because in order for Gary and Wyatt to like them, they can't have that any meanness in them.
No, and you could throw a third girl into that dynamic because that was clicks still happen. That's always going to exist in a teenage world. So you can have that one mean girl that's kind of guiding them in the wrong path. Well, you have to date the football players and to be cool.
I think you should add like
And then-
another really asshole couple. Because they're the asshole couple, and he's friends with the two assholes.
And it
they're all
fleshes out
assholes.
the school a little bit too.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think all three of the guys should be assholes.
Yeah.
And then there's the one asshole girl who keeps these two other girls who are really nice girls in these relationships with these guys who really they don't like. They're not really even interested in. They're only
No.
putting up with them because their friend says so, and it's because it's important to their status at school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it gives you an extra couple of characters that Lisa can torment a little bit at the party and put in some bad situations.
Yeah, I don't think she torments them enough. I think that's sort of the thing.
Yeah, they just kind of get scared and run off after a little while. And actually try to make friends.
Well, like after trying to
two-faced wise, but
and going at these guys like, let us have Lisa, like she's a thing to have, and I'm like,
pass around.
to pass around, yeah. And I don't like. I kind of want her to make them fucking pay a little bit.
I actually want to establish that if you have a larger group, maybe that leader of the girls' clique, maybe she is kind of being swapped between these three guys. And it's just this is something they're already doing.
That's going into a really dark place.
It's going into a dark place and it's icky, but I don't
This movie's
really,
got some icky.
Yeah.
No, I don't
Not that
really.
kind of icky, though.
Yeah, I don't really see that. I think she needs.
That makes her kind of damaged, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. Like
No.
but I think it's what you make her is she keeps these girls in this relationship and she's mean and terrible, but she needs friends. Like she doesn't. All she's got.
She's got no power by herself.
She's got no power by herself, and she's stuck with these three assholes because she can't separate her boyfriend from those two dicks.
Yeah.
So that would be kind of, it gives her something. And maybe at the end there's a redemption moment where she's like, no.
That would
Well,
actually
and
be a good
I would
twist.
like
is
to have a redemption
Her
moment.
boyfriend is actually a nice guy and actually feels bad about what happens to Gary and Wyatt, but because his two best friends are the assholes, and she's kind of a bitch, and she's kind of all tied all together. So you have these sort of these swap dynamics, right? You have the nice guy with the bitchy girl, and then you have the nice girls with the bitchy guy, right? So that,
Yeah.
because I don't know, I just
And maybe that guy is a friend, a kind of a former friend of Gary and Wyatt, who's
They grew
been
up
removed,
together when they were kids.
who's been removed because of this bitch,
Well, no. You can have it.
and wants to be kind of part, you know.
You can
misses
have
his
what
friends.
has happened in like lots of 80s movies and a bunch of other things where people grew up together. Like when we talked in Fright Night, where he was friends with like this unpopular kid when he was a kid, but all of a sudden he's in this other group now and he has to be an asshole to these other people. You know, like you grow up and
Yeah.
all of a sudden you
That's
become.
what I was kinda getting
If he
at.
grows up attractive, he kind of becomes popular, but that's not really who he is.
yeah, and that's where I was going. Is
Yeah, that's
he's a reluctant
exactly what I
asshole.
was
He's an
thinking.
asshole, but by circumstance.
Yeah.
When he actually feels bad about all of it, but he's kind of trapped by it.
Yeah,
But he's also-
trapped in his circle, and this is what's expected of
But
him.
when we're talking like the increase in confidence, it's part of him increasing his confidence where he's like, I don't need any of these people. I'll be friends with who the fuck I want.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, and you can have that from Lisa's perspective with the boys as well, where they kind of miss their friend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, so this is another layer of like, well, she might
Be
him
like,
back
who's
into
that
the fold.
asshole? And they're like, oh, well, no, look, we knew him
She
when he was
seems to
younger.
know what's makes everybody tick almost immediately.
Yeah, she's in tune, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Don't forget, she's got like the brains of like every genius on the planet.
She's
in her
essentially
skull, right?
omnipotent.
Yeah.
You know, she's
Yeah, like
God.
I say, she's
the God
genie and
character.
God. Yeah.
I like the idea of adding that additional dynamic in there. You don't want to take it too far because it does. You don't want to take over the rest of the story.
No.
But it's
No.
a good subplot.
Yeah, it's a good subplot.
Oh, it's definitely a good B plot.
Yeah, you don't have to give it a shit ton of time, but it gives a little bit more to do, a little more padding within the film, because there's a lot of times where they're just kind of meandering a little bit, and you know, you can fill in that time a little more efficiently. I
Well,
think.
and sometimes there's little bits where they do feel kind of sketch. They're their own scene.
Yeah.
Kind of not really part of like a whole movie, just its own scene.
Yeah, you could trim down like the drunk scene just a wee bit, and to fit in that stuff. And I mean, time wise, you're probably still looking at 95.
Because that
Yeah.
beginning is more about really establishing
45.
Lisa.
Yeah.
Because she just goes anywhere because she just wants to go out and have fun, and she wants to enjoy people. Ooh, that's part of it.
There should be a little bit of them trying to rein in, or just struggling to keep up with her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There should be a little bit more of that, I think.
yeah, and she's kind of like, "Come on, like, we're having fun," because they did. They did give
Are
her
we?
part of.
Is it?
Well, at the beginning, part of what she is David Lee Roth, and I'm like, he's like, going, should we have put that in? That should be one of the things where they ask, like, okay, we put the party animal bit in. Should we have done that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who would your party animal be for a remake? Because it can't be David Lee Roth anymore. It just
No,
can't
I
be.
guess not.
No.
All Dave, all night.
We're
Rihanna?
old. Who are famous partiers these
Yeah.
days?
Like, is it like a Snoop character? But he's pretty mellow. I don't know that he'd
No,
work.
you could have like other female part, like have a Rihanna or like a Katy Perry, like just the rock stars.
Well, God knows the people who are famous for partying are abysmal human beings these days.
That's
so
true.
That's true.
That's a bit of a conundrum.
It is a bit of a conundrum. Something to think about. Let's leave this one to our audience.
There we go.
Yeah, if you know a good party
Who's
animal,
a
that's
good
not a reprehensible
partier?
human
Yeah, who's
being.
not Paris Hilton? Who's not? Yeah, who's not famous for being a douchebag? Let us know. You can do that at Invasion Remake on Twitter, invasionofthemake@gmail.com, or Invasion of the Remake on our Facebook page.
Ooh, I got it. Prince Harry. He's known for rocking out, but he still does lots of charity work.
Okay, that's a start.
Let's start.
I don't know. Like he was known for
I
having
kinda
a
dig
big
that.
hard party.
For now, I'll go with
For
that.
now.
Prime Minister Trudeau, you can learn to throw yourself down stairs like a champ.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, really, you don't need to change much about the basic storyline. I mean, add that subplot, and then tweak like the science of it.
Yeah,
the look and feel, obviously.
The look and feel of it.
And make them older.
Yeah, what would you have appear instead of a nuke? We were trying to figure that out, and I'm not sure we found a solution for that.
Oh, see, I thought it was like another app thing, like not a nuke, but like some sort of animal or like Pokemon Go or something like that.
Actually, that would be good if like something really completely unrealistic
Because if we're talking,
was floating around.
yeah,
the
if we're
house.
talking app, like something that's on the phone
Yeah.
that has now come out and they didn't mean for it to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tricky because I mean, part of there's some great dialogue happens around the nuclear missile, right? So it has to be something that kind of allows for that kind of dialogue.
I don't know. Actually, Pokemon Go's not bad because, just using the lines got to catch them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that could be...
There's some... And yeah, you throw it into kind of the teen angst, coming of age, coming of sexual age stuff. Yeah. There's a lot of jokes there.
Yeah, you know what? I think that could work, actually.
Except for the fact that I don't think Nintendo would give you the license, but...
No.
But you
could do a very clear parable while not doing copyright infringement.
Yeah. Part of what Lisa has seen has been unleashed. She's like, damn it. They have to go capture them. Look what you guys have done.
Here's your balls. Great joke right there.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Ooh, and you could bring in
Angry Birds.
No,
that house is almost destroyed. You can have pigs attacking the house.
Yeah,
but you could have
birds attacking the house.
You could have the moment where it's like Chet kind of comes to his senses and starts to do better by Wyatt and Gary, and uses his hunting skills to help them capture the Pokemon.
Yeah, but don't forget that Lisa makes it all go away anyhow, right?
True.
Right.
No, I mean,
but they got it.
The chaos
struggle
is there
with it.
usually on purpose.
Yeah.
And she could have made that missile go away at any point.
Oh, absolutely.
She was like, "Oh, you did it. You can live with it."
Or the blue
now.
kitchen.
Yeah, love the blue kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like I see where you're going with that as part of Chet's redemption, but yeah, I think because Lisa really does make everything go away at the time that Chet comes back, right? It kind of doesn't fit in the timeline.
But
right?
I mean, you've got to have something that I think just is more significant than turning him into a toad. Because I'm sorry, an asshole like that who's been an asshole that many years, being turned into a toad once isn't going to make him a nice person. Because once Lisa's gone, who's going to keep him in check? Nobody.
There is that, right? But again, this is
once the parents comes home, he'll revert to who he was. We all know this.
I don't know. If the threat of Lisa's still out there.
No, Wyatt just won't put up with this shit anymore. That's what's going to happen.
That's what's going to happen. Is Wyatt's now got that self-confidence.
That is the whole point. Yeah. So
he won't change, but Wyatt will.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah, he's never going to get anything more out of Wyatt. So
yeah, I think that's part of it. I think that he's got that fear of Lisa that sort of keeps him in check.
Yeah.
He doesn't really change who he is, but he changes his behavior out of fear.
Yeah, right? I don't know.
It's
the nuclear deterrent, right?
Yeah.
That threat's always out there for him now.
Yeah, because
with the missile,
right?
Yeah, because Chet doesn't change. You can even tell by the way he approaches it. Is he's not really changed. He's just behaving differently because it all feels false. When he's that last conversation he has with Wyatt, it feels false.
Yeah.
Right. And Wyatt knows that it's false, but he still accepts it because he's hoping this will still be the new dynamic where...
Yeah, and it's not like Chet's going to be around the house much longer anyway.
Yeah, he's going to be gone.
He only comes home for the weekends. Yeah. And I noticed that their family keeps their bedrooms just the same, which I just found a little creepy. Like, because Wyatt's in his sister's bedroom and you see all those horses lined up on the shelf. I'm like, really?
Well, there's some OCD in this family.
No, it's just weird. I'm sorry. Like, once I grew up, a lot of the stuffed animals weren't on display anymore.
Well, I mean,
you're sitting in my house.
Yeah, but this is not quite the same thing.
I mean, I've got all sorts of crazy comic book stuff. It probably still looks like a teenager's house.
Probably, definitely. No, I mean his sister's,
but it's not infantilizing. I think that's the difference.
There you go. Yeah, I mean his sister's off she's gotten engaged, and that's where his parents are, is to meet her fiance, right?
Yeah, she's getting meet her fiance, and her room is still like that. I'm sorry, as a woman, as a grown woman, it's just creepy. Don't keep my room like that. It's stupid.
It's like, I'm not dead. That's what it does feel like. Why would you do this? Make it a den.
Yeah, or at least like let me come
Turn it
home.
into a real guest room or something like that.
That's
Yeah.
it. That is exactly it. You don't turn it into a real guest room. I'm sorry, no. And if she insists on that, then she's a little fucked in the head.
Well, and she might be. We never meet her, but you look at the rest of the family. You've got uber repressed Wyatt.
Gary does ask who would marry Chloe.
Yeah. You've got uber arrogant Chet, right? So why couldn't his sister be maybe a little juvenile, even as an adult? Right? But, I mean, realistically, I mean...
Hey, we both know an adult who's obsessed with My Little Pony, so...
Yes, we do.
It's not out of the realm.
I know more than one, actually.
You could like your geek stuff now in the world, and it's okay to have it on display.
Well, no, I'm
this
sorry.
wasn't geek stuff, though. This was little girl stuffed animal.
Little
kind
canopy bed with ruffled...
Well, and that might say more about her parents, trying to keep their little girl a little girl. So...
Or trying to keep their children in certain boxes.
Yeah.
And you kind of get the sense that that's kind
of... you get that from Gary's side, but we don't really see that from Wyatt's side.
You do to a certain extent through his grandparents.
Yeah.
Right? His grandparents kind of are kind of the surrogates for his parents in the sense that they talk about what kid doesn't love his grandparents. It's like that's kind of...
Yeah, there's nothing more important to a teenage boy than his grandparents.
Yeah, so like that's kind of indicative of kind of the whole relationship that family has with each other. Is they kind of... The kids don't have personalities.
Yeah.
Right? They don't have their own wants or needs. Right? And you kind of get the impression that Chet was kind of a rebel, like he kind of acted out a lot. And I think because he was the middle child.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I thought that Chet, I kind of caught it this time. I believe Chet is the middle child.
Yeah. And he was sent off to military school, right? So obviously he didn't fit into the mold his family wanted him to fit into. And then when they sent off to military school, he came back a different person. Not necessarily the person they wanted him to be, but was really good at putting on the act of the person he wanted them to be. Right?
Yeah.
Right. And then Wyatt gets to see the real Chet, who never left.
No.
So and I kind of get the feeling that's the way that whole dynamic, that family dynamic works.
Yeah, and maybe you just need a scene at the beginning before the parents leave, a little bit more to establish who they are. And that gives you insight about the whole family, right?
Yeah.
And that dynamic. So when they come back, and you get at least a sense of how Wyatt's changed in the dynamic of the family unit as well, not just
because they
personally.
show up at the end, and I don't get a sense because if you had that juxtaposition, you could see it kind of change.
Yeah, it's and you don't need to give it a shit ton of time, but it'll say a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was sitting here going, I'm wondering, are we spending too much time analyzing Wyatt's family dynamic? I mean, really, for a comedy? I mean, but no, you know what? It certainly, I mean, when you look at the underlying tones of the movie, it is important. I mean, it doesn't bear maybe a lot of analysis, but there is some.
Not at all.
Yeah.
No. You just, if just the one extra scene and you're good, you're gold.
Yeah, I mean, have Gary and Wyatt saying goodbye to his parents at the beginning, and
I mean, you don't even have to do it if you don't want to. You can, as you said, that room is fucked up. So for a grown woman, you can just change it. Just have it as have the room in, like boxed up and ready to ship her stuff out.
Yeah. Or have it halfway into being transformed into a guest room.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, something but something. Yeah, but you would make it feel more complete.
I mean, she's not a character.
What
really.
they did, but what they did, I think, is I felt it was just like Wyatt's transformation is he's in love all of a sudden. No, that's not the transformation. The transformation should be like he's kind of an adult at the end. And if you have that juxtaposition between the parents, it feels more complete.
Yeah, and these characters don't understand what love is at the beginning of the film, but by the end they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you know what, the whole "I love you" scene at the end. No, I don't.
It's a little too much after one night.
It is too much.
Yeah.
But it should be.
But that's movies.
Yeah,
movie logic.
But I would ditch that. I would completely ditch that, and because
I would too.
They would have their opportunity to develop their relationships because they've now gotten to the point in their own personal development where they're capable of starting a relationship and finding out if it's love.
Yeah, you could have just something cheesy. He's like walking off. She's already gone in the house. He's like, "Good day."
Yeah, like something. And
it's a good day.
That would be part of what Lisa's there to help them understand. Is that just this physical? Like that's not love. It's a bigger thing.
Yeah.
And you can't, it's not something that just happens.
I mean, it wasn't just, it was learning to face the world as a, good, bad, and otherwise. So.
Yeah, getting that self-confidence to be who you really are and not who everybody keeps telling you are.
Yeah, and meeting these
Facing
women
fears.
and meeting these young women and getting to know them, not just the fictionalized version they had in their head of who they actually are.
Yeah, it's good
because they've never interacted with them. They only imagine what they're like.
Oh, it's great to have your fantasies and stuff, but then there's the reality of having it. Once you have it, then what do you do with it?
Yeah, like to find out, like, maybe, and to be honest, they probably really are well matched, but the whole point of the idea is to be like, no, now I've met the real person, and that's kind of better than what I had in my head.
Yeah, exactly.
And you could have some dialogue that kind of addresses that, right?
These boys didn't have anything else to compare to.
No.
Like, they've never been in a real relationship.
No, and I mean, there's a great bit of dialogue between Gary and Jen, where she's asking him about Lisa, like, do you love Lisa, or and he's trying to explain to her that no, she's like my big sister, right? Like, and
I do love her, but it's a different love than what you're thinking.
Yeah, right. And he says, and maybe you can even say, he says, you know what? I don't know if I know what love is yet, but I'd like to find out.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where they develop that relationship.
Oh,
right?
and have the whole thing is like going, I made Lisa as like the fantasy of what I thought a woman was, and now that I've really found out what women are, that's better. I have no imagination. It's better than what I thought.
And
like,
maybe you don't tell your maybe future girlfriend that you created your girlfriend. That might be a secret I take to my grave.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is,
or just have her say she was the fantasy I thought women were, not what I found out.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to go into the details, but you can say the same thing without having to throw all the details at them. Yeah, that's a better line.
Yeah, and because there's a point when I think it's Hilly who has the line at the end. It's like, well, I think we grounded for like a month, but would you be interested in seeing me again after I'm not grounded anymore? I mean, that would have been, that's all you needed really for that dialogue, was him to say yes.
Yeah,
right. And they do that. You can do it in the sprinklers in the lawn. That can be kind of where.
And considering who they were dating, I'm sure they were used to being grounded.
And Will, he did say, is like, I'll wait for you, and that's to me is just a nice line, and that's what you leave it at.
Yeah, you don't need the whole like shouting in the sprinklers, say anything moments where he shouts, "I love you." Yeah. You don't know yet. You really don't. Right?
Yeah, just a
even
smile.
as a teenager, you're smart enough to know that.
Yeah.
Actually, a smile, and he puts like a little note in it, like a sort of a notification in his app. It's like a month from now.
Yeah, that would be even better. That
ungrounded.
Yeah.
And he hits boob.
Big smiley emoji.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that. That would be perfect.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't need to be
first date notification.
Yeah. There we go. Much better than the whole, because that was one of the few moments that felt off for me in that movie is where he's standing outside in the sprinkler. Right? I mean, that's a huge 80s trope. Standing on the lawn and getting wet in the sprinklers.
Yeah.
It's one of John Hughes' favorites.
Although you can turn it on its head in a weird way that I thought of, is he gets in the sprinklers and he's like going, where's that? He just shrugs it off. Like a whole bunch of crap has happened to him. He's used to being bullied. The sprinklers come on. He's like, just walks away with confidence. He just owns it, right?
So, I just got wet. No big deal.
Just got wet. He just owns it and walks away. He's like, fine. I can rock this.
Well, they kind of do that even with the slushes on the head, right? I mean, they're really cool about it. They just sit there and they're like, that just happened.
Yep. Yeah. Well, when they pantsed too, they're like, all right.
Yeah.
That's a thing now.
Yeah, but I mean, that's partly kind of speaks to how beaten down these guys have been by.
They're used to humiliation.
Yeah, right. So, and that could be a really great way to show that change of character and their self-confidence. Is you're right, because instead of it being like this resigned, this has happened to me. It's like,
not again.
Yeah, it's more of like, I can deal with this.
I'm still that guy.
Yeah, exactly. This happened.
Yeah.
But I know how to roll with this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You could.
That's me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This would have bothered me before.
Yeah. And in the end, that wasn't somebody bullying them. That was just a happenstance.
Yeah.
you have to laugh about.
Yeah, but yeah, it's true. You can laugh, like make a joke out of it. It's also would be really telling moment where he's like, yeah, I can handle anything now. I've just handled fictional characters. They came from nowhere. I can handle anything.
He's being watered. It'll make the relationship grow.
Ah, nice. But yeah, and then the small, what was it, the chase scene at the end with Gary, where he doesn't know that it's the RPM and not the mileage.
Yes.
I don't know about that one. It feels weird.
For a kid who probably doesn't have a driver's license, he's
Yeah.
actually pretty good about getting away from the cops.
Yeah,
But
I
again,
can
that
get
speaks to his
that.
confidence, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Is he can race away from the cops because he's gained that self confidence to do anything he wants to do.
Which includes breaking like a lot of laws and possibly putting her in danger.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't say he wasn't still a teenage boy.
Yeah, his judgment is still...
It's still a teenage boy's
real
judgment.
bad.
Yeah, but yeah, and I mean, obviously, he's not familiar with cars because he's never really driven one before. I mean, they talk about that when
Yeah,
they try to
see-
get Wyatt to drive the Cadillac. He's like, he doesn't have a license.
But see, I think you don't need it because it's sort of that self-confidence he now has was sort of in that moment with Hilly. Because they were, or is it Deb? I can't remember.
Deb, yeah.
It was Deb. That moment with Deb where he's not at all awkward anymore. Like, I don't think you need it. I think it's already been well established at that point.
No, it was a setup for two jokes. It was a setup for the
Yeah.
RPM joke and a setup for the where he runs past his parents and he's like, "Who's Gary?"
There's Gary. Yeah, that was all it was. And
Yeah,
like,
it
I don't
was-
know. It feels like lame to me.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary.
No, there's definitely some jokes that don't work in the movie that you can just avoid.
The one joke I really, really kind of loved is with the gun at the end. He's like, we saved all these people, and they're ducking as he's waving the
Oh
gun
no,
around.
he's a squirt gun.
Yeah. He's like, you, me. And like, he's just like, you, Wyatt. And Wyatt like shirks away. And then like, he's like, we saved all these people. They're all ducking. I just laugh every time I see that moment because I think it's just so funny.
Yeah, that scene has to stay because there's. I mean, that's really where you see Gary like just you know what, fuck it all, right?
Yeah.
Right when he grabs the shotgun and he says, "Why don't you shut up, bitch?" And as for your ugly ass, it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and
that's,
about 2 minutes earlier, they were hiding in the closet.
yeah,
so-
it's, and, I mean, for anybody who's been a teenager, which is everybody, you know those moments where you wish you could do something like that, where you're tired of somebody talking down to you or somebody threatening you in some way, and you wish you could just step up and say something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Just get it. Like, yeah, be like, just, or you're not going to take it anymore.
Exactly. And I mean, I'm not traumatized by my teen years. Really, I'm not. I remember them though. Right? I mean, they certainly they helped
I
shape
think
who I am.
everybody had awkward moments in their teens.
Yeah.
They had good moments and bad moments, but that all shapes everything.
I've had
Yeah.
awkward years since the age of 4. It's been decades. I don't know if I'm going to grow out of this phase.
Yeah, we're going to go push Trish into a snowbank in about 2 minutes here, so everybody just please be patient.
I do not care for it.
After I did that to your sister, I probably shouldn't do that.
Oh, I forgot you did that. Speaking of traumatizing teen moments,
Wait, are you Chet?
She never forgave me.
No,
Well, she did dump popcorn on my head earlier in the day, and I warned her.
Was it buttered
She was-
popcorn?
I don't remember. Actually, no, she didn't dump popcorn on my head. She was just being nasty. So I'm like, oh, you can stop now. I warned her, and I told her I'd dump her in the snowbank. That's
And
right.
you did. And then-
I also dumped popcorn on her head.
yeah, that was you who was in the.
So what did
That's
she
right. I
do
didn't
to
do
you
it.
before that? Because you remember both things that you did to her, but you cannot tell us what she did to you.
No, Sam's sister had a way
Yeah.
of getting under your skin sometimes.
Yeah, not all the time. Most of the time, she was really, really nice. But once in a while, if she was in a,
I don't know. You'd always get a warning.
Yeah.
I always warned her that I'd do it, and then she'd keep prodding, and then I'd go and do it.
yeah, and then
It wasn't bullying. I wasn't doing anything nasty. I was like, this is what's your comeuppance if you keep prodding
these are the
at me.
consequences of your actions.
That's right.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, she'd come home because I was
But
out of
what
high
were
school
the
by this time.
actions? This is my curiosity getting
Oh,
piqued.
this is 25 years ago, so
Yeah, it's
I don't even remember all the details. I remember the results of the details.
No, you remember your details. I'm just kind of
I
wondering
don't remember
how
what
perception is working
she
here.
was. No, I don't remember what it was that she was saying that was getting under my skin. But I mean,
Yeah.
we both
I wasn't
like
there, so I don't know.
Yeah, we
Right.
both like tormenting each other. So
Yes, but yeah, she came home and told me, kind of laughing and kind of mad. She was kind of amused and impressed that Jay would do it, and mad that Jay would do it.
How old were you?
16.
High school, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's about that age.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that would be probably about, because I was 19 or 20, and
poor Mike was the one who has suffered for it. So
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, speaking of teen tormenting, but yeah, I mean, all in all, I think this is a fun movie that could bear an updating without a lot of changes.
yeah.
Just some minor ones like we talked about, but
Well, I mean, fashion. I would update those jokes. I mean, like, there's a lot about that's not going to age well. But the
the best jokes are the ones that stand up. That did stand up, right?
I mean, if you can watch that movie now and still laugh at whatever the jokes are, then they're probably holding up.
Yeah.
That's a genuine reaction. But there's, we would discuss some of the ones that don't work. So.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you'd have to redo Persian Missile because people wouldn't know what Persian meant.
Yeah, no, it's. I think maybe that needs to change. I'm not sure what. I do like the Pokemon thing, though.
Yeah.
I kind of like that, where you got something else in the house tormenting the guests.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Or it becomes a game where you've got them like running around the house trying to catch these things. Right. It's kind of both. Right.
Yeah, where it's kind of fun, but in that Gremlins pesty kind of way.
Yeah.
Or you could add we were talking about famous people are in there. What if the Pokemon eats Ed Sheeran? They kill a few of the more famous guests.
These are pretty evil Pokemon. I don't know much about Pokemon,
she
but
accuses me of being dark.
I have to put in some dark shit. I do. It's just part of who I am.
yeah, you both disturb me sometimes.
Oh, come on. It's not the real Ed Sheeran. He was just conjured at that moment.
It's true. Right.
Real Ed Sheeran is still fine.
I would want movie and TV characters, whatever. Maybe Jesse from Breaking Bad's walking around the party.
Aaron Paul.
Yeah.
Oh, that would actually be fun. Have him walking around as Jesse.
As Jesse, yeah.
Because he would show up at a party, right?
So if he dies,
probably
it's just the character of Jesse. It's not Aaron Paul. Aaron Paul's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you take famous characters and throw them in there. I think that would be just to mix it up a little bit and add to the surrealness of Lisa's powers.
Yes.
Yeah. Because sometimes I don't think, even in the 80s, I don't think we got the full effect of what she could do.
Oh, no.
No.
Yeah.
No, and I think she's got a lot of power, and she's trying to use it for good, but I think the other part of it, I don't think she realizes how much she can actually do.
Yeah.
She's still fairly new, right? Right. I mean,
part of it as well is her discovering the world as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
she only knows what's been fed to her in a machine.
Yeah, I mean, because when she picks a bar, she picks this dive blues bar, right? I mean, realistically, if she knew teenage boys, she wouldn't pick somewhere like that.
Yeah.
Right. But she knew it was right for them because she got them in touch. She put them in contact with these more mature, really cool people.
Yeah, and I think she just wanted somewhere fun where she could have fun. At that point, I don't think she really cared.
Yeah, I think she's the person who would have fun regardless of where she is.
Well, they do, but she would have fun at an insurance seminar.
Yeah.
is the one. That's another joke I like.
Yeah, and she's a gym teacher at the end, and
yeah, FYI,
the high school teacher we all dreamed about.
And I have to say, as an owner of boobs for over 3 decades, having the leotard that goes over your things with just the strip by your boobs, that is not something that's practical. That's not something you should ever do. It's dangerous for you and others.
But it looks damn good on film.
It's pointless for gym teachers. I'm just saying.
Well, I suspect there would have been against the dress code of a high school.
Oh, yeah. The practicality of that is stupid. It does not work.
She's impractical as a gym teacher anyhow, because I'm sorry, 14-year-old boys walking around with wooden gym does not facilitate gym. Really, it doesn't. Right? So it's impractical. You're right. You're absolutely correct. It's not practical in any way, shape, or form.
No.
They were segregated gym classes. It was all boys in that end scene, but then they had the girls class in the earlier scene when they get pantsed.
Yeah.
And that's not unusual. That's
was
very
normal.
typical in U.S. high schools.
Until grade 10,
Yeah, that's
we
not
had
something I'm
segregated
familiar
gym
with.
class. It was grade 1 to 9 because we had a small school. Everybody had gym together.
Right.
And then grade 10, it was segregated because it was a bigger school. And you had girls and boys gym. But from 11 to 12, it was also put together because there were less people taking gym at that point because it was an
That
option.
Never a thing for me.
Yeah.
But
And it was for me.
It was always mixed.
I mean, we took gym at the same time, but we were always segregated into girls' class and boys' class.
Right.
Right. And then we'd have mixed intramural stuff occur occasionally, like softball and stuff like that.
Dodgeball.
But,
Yeah.
Dodgeball was intramural, but
Yeah, I think there were a couple of high school units where you would split off, but for the most part, everything was mixed. I mean, I think there weren't too many girls in the football unit, but
I remember having like grade 10 gym class and it was just us girls doing like field hockey and track.
Yeah.
And,
that was the one I was going to bring up is field
and
hockey.
golf.
We did
Yeah.
rugby.
we did golf and we did like a biking
yeah,
at the beginning
yeah.
of
And
the day.
I remember some of that in high school, but growing up in the younger grades, no.
Younger grades, no, because it's pointless.
Yeah.
There's no reason to.
Yeah, you're playing kickball and
Ooh, what time is it, Mr. Wolf? Do you remember that?
Kinda.
vaguely yet.
Yeah. No, I don't.
So are we even going to try to cast this film, or are we just going to, because it's...
I have a cast.
Well, I
had-
have one
Ish.
too, but...
I have a
Can
small one.
I had an alternative. Like I know we've really already. I like what we've come up with. I did have an alternative. I was floating the idea.
Okay.
Is I did like a flip on this, where I had Wyatt and Gary were not young men. They were young women who were just trying to figure out the world, and like Lisa's still Lisa, but just trying to help them like maneuver and grow up in a way, like just how to figure out how to deal with the world.
Awkward girls tried to be a little more popular, and then
Not really popular,
Well,
but
you
just be stronger
But you
and
could,
more
because
self-confident.
Much like the guys, they lose their way, start wandering into the bitch territory, and then she schools them back.
Yeah, and like
so I mean, you
girls-
could still. I'm not fond of
Girls
the gender
standing in their own
swapping,
way?
but
like because that's the whole thing. Like I remember being a girl and like standing in my own way because because my confidence was just shit. And to have maybe just an older woman like show
I
me
think
the way
it would
would have
still
helped.
work. I mean, girls holding a party, like a lot of it would still work.
Yeah, it would still work. I mean, there's be some major changes in dynamic, but it could still work.
It would take out. You could still keep them 15 and take out the icky sex angle.
Well, I mean, if you have horny guys chasing after the girls, I mean, it's still
between
kind of
Lisa,
there.
like an
Yeah.
older woman and like a 15-year-old boy, that's not good.
Yeah. No.
No, well,
Have it more a mentor type of relationship.
well, and
which is what it is.
Which is what it is. I mean, and let's face it, neither of them actually did sleep with her.
No. Yeah.
Right.
that's
So they I think they acknowledged that if they had actually had sex with her, it would have moved into icky territory. Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, showering with her. I mean, that's every 15-year-old teenage boy's fantasy to shower with a 23-year-old woman. I mean, it's well, with any woman, to be completely honest. But yeah. Like I
But
said,
what is the point there? What is the end game of showering with a woman?
well, and then they handled that by making them uncomfortable with it by keeping them in
Yeah.
their jeans, right? They acknowledged that if they took this in a certain direction, it would be wrong. It would be move into a very uncomfortable place for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So they acknowledged it, and so they went, okay, well, here's the fantasy, but here's what we think would really happen, right? This kind of changes it so that it becomes not as
After school special?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't become the teacher sleeping with their student. It becomes a sort of they're experimenting and discovering themselves, and they do some thing. They live out a fantasy, but it's not the fantasy they expected, kind of thing. And that's exactly what this happened. What Lisa was is she's not the fantasy they expected. Right? Because they thought they were going to get this wonderful 23-year-old girl that they could do all these wonderful things with, and she flips it on his head, right?
Yeah, and see, I don't know, like the way the dynamic I kind of imagine is like it's more. It would be the same movie, but it's from kind of the perspective of Deb and Hilly, where they're like, "This is the woman I kind of imagine I want to be." Mm-hmm. Not so much like the woman the guys want to have or be with. For the girls, it's like the woman they want to be.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. I think that would work out.
It would just,
fine.
yeah,
that would
actually,
be fine.
It would be that movie, but from
Yeah.
Deb and Hilly's perspective.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they've got these shitheel boyfriends that get horny after Lisa. I mean, it all kind of still works, but you can give more time to other things as well. And
Yeah.
I mean,
You could do it either way,
It would be
I
different
think.
jokes, but
It
yeah,
would be different jokes, but I think it would still kind of work.
yeah, I think it would still work. Yeah,
I could do that. I mean, it kind of, to a certain extent, already happens in the movie, to a certain extent.
Yeah,
Right?
but it would be more. But yeah, you just flip the
Yeah.
focus,
yeah,
and they would end up with a Gary and a Wyatt at the end,
yeah,
or a Christine and a Wyatt or something like that.
yeah.
Maybe one of the girls is gay. We don't know.
Yeah, it could be.
Because I could put that in, because it would
Well, they
be
could
about
have
finding the
this
confidence to be who
polyamorous
you are.
relationship where, like, the four of them are just all together.
Maybe.
I like that, actually.
You could do anything.
Yeah.
If you had it, like, yeah, with girls, you could really kind of open it up to a whole lot of different stuff. So, okay, that would be a second remake we could do. Just putting that out there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It you know, the main concept lends itself to a few different angles.
And I think
so
that's kind of what's great about the concept,
Yeah.
is because the concept is...
it's simple.
It's simple, and it's that, like that genie, but it's not like an evil genie, but it's about, the genie just shows you the way, but you are the one who has to do it, you know?
Yeah. The genie shows you it shows you the way to find out what you really wanted in the first place.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I love it.
Okay, well, I mean, did you guys do any casting? Like,
Oh,
did you?
I
have-
did
it was
for my girls'
agonizing.
casting.
It was completely agonizing because we've established on this show we're terrible at casting younger people.
Oh, yes.
But
We need older-
I think I did a decent job here. I think I did an okay job.
Me too.
Yeah.
So I'll start because, well, I'm going to.
Way to take over the show, Sam.
Yeah, well, I had my list here already.
Okay.
And I have it in front of my face instead of over here so you can hear me this time.
Yay.
And I mean, it was tough
Faces
because you're
are
right. We
white.
don't know a lot of younger actors, but as you start to do research, I'm like, oh yeah, I do know that guy. I've seen him in this. So I kind of went with a couple actors for Gary and Wyatt that are maybe they're more kind of like that geeky looking guys.
Nice.
Right? So I went with Thomas Brody Sangster, who plays
love it.
Jojen Reed in Game of Thrones, because he's still handsome, but he plays the geeky. I could see him playing that geeky character really
Yeah.
well.
And Love Actually,
Yeah, exactly.
which they did like a thing for Red Nose Day.
For Gary, I went with Nolan Gold from Modern Family, also slightly geeky,
Yes.
but
Very
still
nice.
good looking. For Chet, and I know I've used him before, but I think he'd do a great Chet. I went with Dave Franco.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah, he would
That's
be a
good.
perfect Chet.
I went with, for Ian, I went with Dylan Sprayberry, who I've only seen as the young Clark Kent in Man of Steel. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if he can act or not. I don't care, because he has that right look for kind of the arrogant younger guy.
Yeah.
And then for Max, I went with Jake T. Austin, who also has a similar arrogant look to him, or can pull it off. And for those of you who don't know, he's the voice of Blue Beetle in Teen Titans.
Ooh.
Cool.
So he does voice acting as well.
Yeah, I didn't cast the bullies.
I had to. I just couldn't help
Yeah.
myself because they were so iconic.
I gave up. Is
I
what
know.
happened. I'm like, I've got my main guys. I'm good. I was just getting like,
So for my Deb, I can't say her last name, but I'm going to try. Her name is Ali Ioannidis. She plays a character in a show I just started watching, and I really like her. She's in Into the Badlands.
Okay, yep.
She's really good in it, and she's very pretty, beautiful blue eyes. I think she'd make a great kind of ingenue type character for I'm guessing for Nolan Gold. And then for my Haley, I went with an actress who I've seen in a couple other things, again, small roles, but I think deserves a breakout, and her name's Sydney Park. She had a small arc in Walking Dead and a bunch of other TV series where you see her as kind of one episode.
Right.
Now for my Lisa, I went for somebody that, I mean, again, used her before, but she's perfect for this type of role. I went with Margot Robbie.
As did I.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll just say that now. I'm like, she's that perfect age right now,
Yeah.
and is probably every teenage boy's dream. I'm sure a lot of them have Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn posters on their walls right now.
For sure.
so-
And she's so talented.
yeah,
She's really good.
She's
I
really
mean,
talented,
I mean,
so.
I don't cast actors just because of the way they look. I try
Oh
to go
no,
for talent.
and
right?
I did too.
Yeah.
I mean, I like, well, I've seen her in Tarzan and
Wolf of Wall Street and
Wolf of Wall Street, yeah, and of course,
I mean,
Suicide
Harley
Squad. So
yeah, Harley
she
Quinn
can do a bunch of different things.
And the Harley Quinn character was the one that made me think, well, you know what? She can kind of pull off that sort of that fun, irreverent kind of character.
Yeah.
Right? Really, really well. I
Yeah.
mean, by far the highlight of that film.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's the best
Yeah.
thing in that.
Yeah, and I mean, she uses sexuality in Wolf of Wall Street and confidence in Tarzan.
Yeah.
So, she's got the balance of what we need.
Yeah,
for that
exactly, yeah.
character.
And I think she could pull off like that sort of impish delight
Yeah.
at just making stuff happen.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
sure.
You kind of see that with Harley Quinn, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, I loved for the fact that she'd be able to use her natural accent. She could have her Australian accent. Right?
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that was part of what made Lisa sexy was Kelly LeBrock had this standout accent within the American crowd. So
Yeah.
I'd want to keep her, and it's so rare when we get to hear her with a natural
Exactly.
accent.
I love giving actors the chance to use their real accent. I mentioned that in our episode. The episode, I can't remember, we've done so many episodes in the last little while, but there's where I was talking, the Feebles I talked about.
Yeah.
About how I like the casting actors with their natural accents.
Yeah. But I loved, what was it, when you're talking about the accent? Oh, damn it. I lost it. Ah, crap. Oh, yeah. Oh, she uses wanker.
Right.
Lisa uses wanker, which you wouldn't normally have unless she was British.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a couple other things that were kind of British isms in her dialogue as well.
Yeah.
Which I
and
liked.
it was very deliberate. I mean, you could tell it was very deliberate to sort of throw
The
those-
masturbation when she's talking about
Tossing off.
Tossing off.
That's very British.
That's very British. Tossing off. I wasn't tossing off. He doesn't even know what that means.
That's what the whole thing. I was kind of surprised his parents knew what that meant.
Yeah,
because they were so American.
Yeah, well, I think that the whole tossing off into a magazine, it kind of you can infer what they mean from that. And she makes the hand gesture.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Tossing off to magazines in the bathroom.
Yes. And then for my director, I went with John Hamburg, who did I Love You Man, which I think is another really well-structured comedy. So I kind of went with that, somebody who's proven that they can do a well-structured comedy about the dynamic between two men, as well as their dynamics with women.
Yeah. I sadly neglected a director for some reason.
Yeah, it's a hard one to find a director.
I got busy with doing because we were recording a couple different shows, and I was going right into our next set, and I did my initial casting, and then I totally blanked on the director. I'm just looking at it now. I'm like, well, shit, I didn't cast a director.
I just wanted dead John Hughes.
Yeah.
So, who directed Easy A? I'm going to take that one.
I don't know.
That was who I had in mind, and then I never looked it up.
Oh,
because that would have been another good director for that. Yes.
Yes. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll look it up.
Why doesn't Trish do her casting while you look that up?
Yes, Trish.
Oh,
do
yeah,
your
because I
casting.
don't have my director either.
Oh.
But what I did was I cast with my flip-flopped one.
By all means, go ahead.
Yes.
So I called her Wyatt. Kept Wyatt.
I think that's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, Chloe Grace Moretz.
Okay.
I have her as that. And I put a Jilly instead of a Gary. Mm-hmm. And her name is Andrea Bang. She's in Kim's Convenience. And I just really like her. I think she's fun.
Okay.
She's a little older. Lisa, I went different because of the dynamic of what I was going for. But I really like your Margot Robbie idea. I think it still would work. I put Cara Delevingne because I just went with the whole model route.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because she was another one I was looking at, but I don't find Cara Delevingne to be a particularly good actress. So.
Oh, yeah, no. But I just like the idea of, she's just supposed to be something otherworldly and different.
Yeah.
Like, she's not supposed to be real human-like.
No, and there's definitely that aspect about her. And I mean, no slight on Cara Delevingne. I think she's got potential, but I don't know she's there yet.
Yeah, no, I defer to your Margot Robbie because I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't think of that.
Yeah, just that was
work.
just such a quick one for me. I'm like, oh, she's got everything I need out of that character.
And I made Chet a bitchy older sister because who hasn't seen those?
Yeah.
Or who hasn't had those?
Me.
Me.
I went with Vanessa Hudgens because I think she could be a real bitch
Very
if
nice.
she wants to be.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And then I put, for the guys that are like the men that they like, I put Jeb, who's Nicholas Braun, who I found when you told me to watch Freaks of Nature.
Oh, yes, I love him.
He's so good. Like, he's kind of awkward, but he seems like really sweet. Yeah. I like him. And then I made one of them gay. And I have Billy, her name is Tanya Fear. And she has a small part in the TV show Some Girls in Britain. Mm-hmm. And I just think she's just really cool. And I'd like to cast her in something.
Cool. No, that's a great cast. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, while you were doing that, I did get my director, Will Gluck from Easy A. Nice. My script, I don't do this very often, but my script is going to be adapted by Diablo Cody.
Nice.
Oh, nicely done.
Thank you. It just popped into my head. I'm like, oh, I got to do that.
If anybody could do it, that would be Diablo Cody.
Yeah, I think so.
And you could really notch up the dialogue.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Cody, right?
I love the way she writes dialogue. Just snappy. It's really good. We already know my Lisa is Margot Robbie. My Wyatt is some young unknown chap named Tom Holland who's playing Spider-Man.
I stayed away from him
sweet.
on purpose. I
thought he would be a great Wyatt.
He's
He
got
would be,
such
yeah.
charm. I really love him. Like a Spider-Man, I had not even seen him before, but I'm like, I love that kid. He's
Yeah,
so
I didn't
good.
know who he was up until that point. So until Civil War. And Cameron Monaghan, who I have as Gary, he was the Joker-esque character in Gotham recently.
Ooh.
Yes. So I felt he kind of could pull in the personality of Anthony Michael Hall. So.
He could be young, pervy Gary.
Yeah. For my Hilly, I went with Courtney Eaton from Fury Road.
Nice.
Okay.
Not my only connection, because since they have some Mad Max stuff in here, I did bring in Nathan Jones as my Lord General.
Nice.
For Deb, I did Bella Thorne from the Scream TV series.
She was almost my older sister.
She was almost my dad, but I use Bella Thorne a lot. I think she's a hugely talented and beautiful young actress.
Yes.
But I'm like, I can't always go to her because I gave you guys shit from that the very first time I was on.
Yeah.
And I think this is the first time I've used her.
There we go.
In fact, most of these are, except for Margot Robbie, I think they're the first time I've used any of them for my casting. So.
Most of these are new for me.
And for Chet, I went with Alex Russell from Chronicle. He would have been the older brother.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
I would have liked to seen Dane DeHaan as the older brother if you're
Sure.
doing from Chronicle.
Yeah. And
I think he could be a complete asshole. It'd be great.
Yeah, that's pretty much my cast. I didn't do the bullies, so...
Well, I watched this on Thursday, so I had some time to think about it. So I did spend a lot of time kind of researching it and finding the actors. That, and I don't I try not to cast just based on the way they look anymore, because I always look at their body of work, and if I have time, I'll go and watch clips to see if they're good. Most of these I'd seen in other things, actors I'd seen in other things, and I'm like, yeah, I can see that. So.
I mostly go with if I've seen them in something, and I'll like go to a lot of British TV shows because there's people that most people haven't seen before, but
and
they're
that's
really
why
good.
you hear us repeat, guys, because you know we like what we like. So certain people we gravitate towards, and and new people will trickle in as we watch new things.
Yeah.
So,
but I had to say this.
But we get to watch less of it because we're always watching old stuff for the show.
Yes.
Well, I like I said, I watched this thing twice in a row trying to find an angle because it's one of those movies I still very much enjoy.
Yeah, I didn't really have an angle in mind even coming into the episode this morning, but these things tend to coalesce as we get along.
Yeah.
So.
And
sure.
I mean, Jay's usually the one who has an angle, but this movie just plays up as a straight up comedy.
Yeah.
It really only requires updating. I think this is one of those movies where if you change it too much, it might lose what it has.
Yeah.
Right.
I like the gender swapping thing. It is better than I thought I would, to be honest, because generally when I see that, I get really irritated with it. But
because you feel like they're just
pandering
doing
to
pandering,
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not,
comes off as
it's not
pandering.
always. Like sometimes because
Sometimes it just
the
works.
overall theme, it works no matter which gender's in there. Right?
And you're right, absolutely. As you discussed it, I'm like, I could totally see the movie in my head. So
Yeah, I mean, you've completely changed your target audience with it.
yeah,
It'd be interesting to see. Actually, it'd be fun.
and that audience is a lot bigger than I mean the 80s for sure. So maybe doing that is kind of wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could have your director, my director, each doing a version of it.
Ooh.
With a kind of a simultaneous release. It'd be kind of fun to see what would happen.
Ooh, but same cast doing mirror images of whose perspective is happening.
This would never happen in our
It would
world.
never happen in real life, but imagine how amazing that would be,
That
right?
would be just to have them back to back. Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be kind of interesting. And all the angles are reversed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like it literally is a reverse angle of everything.
they're mirror images.
Yeah.
But the exception is who Lisa's interacting with
it would be
at
a
any given time.
fascinating experiment.
It would be an
Ooh.
absolutely fascinating
Yeah,
experiment.
and you could have Lisa is interacting with both groups of people, and it's just depending on how you edit it, and you could edit it together into one movie if you wanted. Like
man.
have it. Like I know this is just a dream in our heads, but how amazing would that be?
Yeah, well, I mean, considering how she can completely warp reality and be just conjuring her warped reality in ludicrous ways. So That is a very interesting place to go.
I think it's fucking ingenious.
I don't know how
I'd
feasible
love to
it
do
would be, but boy, would it be fun to try.
Yeah, it would certainly be fun to try.
We came up with a new thing to do, guys.
That would be awesome. I don't know. Maybe it won't be, but it's it would be.
It would still be a fun experiment, even if it turned out like it looked like a big old mess. It'd still be fun to see.
To attempt it would be arduous, but who knows where it could go if you tried to just try it.
Turning a John Hughes lowbrow comedy
into a Christopher Nolan film.
Into a Chris Nolan film.
Weirdception.
Very highbrow. Well, I want to know our fellow invaders' angles on this. I think we've got some strange ones. So I want to know how weird yours are as well, because it is weird science. So tell us what you might do with this film in your head. I don't know. You can. I've told you how you can get a hold of us. You can email us at Invasion Remake on Twitter, you can email us invasionremake@gmail.com, and also leave comments on our Facebook page. You can also leave just comments, suggestions, corrections on any of our episodes, and if you just want to strike conversation with us, we are monitoring all of it. So.
And sometimes we ask questions, so if you know answers, please.
Yes. Sometimes we ask questions on the show that never get answered. So
and we threw out your question to this today, right, on this episode. Tell us who you think our partier should be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because sometimes we're stuck. We can't think of one off the top of our heads, or even with a week's notice, because it's hard sometimes.
Sometimes it's really hard. So if you want to drop some of your knowledge on us, you can do it in all those places. It's really easy to do. Another easy thing you can do for us to show your appreciation for the show is wander over to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, and drop us a review. It doesn't take very much time and really helps out the show. It helps people get there.
More earballs on it.
More earballs on the show. You can also tell everybody how to find the show. You already know how to do it because you're listening to our sultry voices. You can tell your friends, tell 5, 10, 15 friends, and write it on your dog's butt.
Nice.
While you're taking it for a walk. We are, of course, on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, Audio Boom, Player FM, and TuneIn Radio, as well as frickin' YouTube. So, and a whole bunch of other sources as well. But those are the top 6, top 7.
Top 7. We are everywhere.
Frickin' YouTube.
So be careful if you want to do a ritual and there's lightning. We might show up.
It is very possible. That's about as
after watching this movie, it could happen.
Yeah, that's about as warped as reality will get. It's like, well, you brought us podcasters? Ooh, that was disappointing.
We just come to your house and be like, these are the movies you have? Wait, we'll show you these ones.
Do you have popcorn?
Yeah, what kind of beer do you got in your fridge? Light?
Oh no.
Why do you have the Friday the 13th remake but none of the original stuff?
How dare you?
What is wrong with you? Who only has 5 Blu-rays?
Hey guys, I think I found us a fan challenge.
Come to think about it, that might actually be pretty scary.
But it would be weird because all you get is like just that essence of us doing this podcast. It wouldn't be our full personalities, so it'd be pure fucking id.
Yes.
True. Very true.
They get the most dangerous version of us.
Yes, we put on special hats just for this show.
Yes. Mine's actually more of a luchador mask. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very stylish.
It is. It's actually it's red and blue, and it's pretty awesome. It's kind of happening.
You can't see shit, though.
Oh, my peripheral's fucked.
But this is an audio podcast.
So it's fine. I just hope I'm like aimed towards the microphone and I'm good. Well, that was weird science, and it got weird. It
always gets weird.
Yeah, weird science from 1985. We'll hit more 80s stuff, 70s stuff, 50s, 60s. We don't care. We'll do it all.
We're not ageist when it comes to movies.
No,
and at some point we need to go back into like the early days of film, and there's some remakes back there too.
Oh, yeah.
If we can find them. That's the key thing, is if we can find them.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part. Sometimes there's stuff we want to do, but getting our hands on it is somewhat difficult.
In fact, next week we're doing a Schwarzenegger movie, but it's not the Schwarzenegger one I wanted to do. But it is our second Schwarzenegger movie on the show. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that says something, doesn't it?
It does, actually. And we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, we'll have to compile our all-star list of who's made the most appearances.
Yeah, actually, I can think of 2 Schwarzeneggers that we need to do.
We'll do that down the road, maybe episode 99 or something.
Yeah.
Or 101. I don't know.
Bonus episode, maybe.
Maybe a bonus episode.
Yeah,
because bonus episode could happen if you guys leave us 100 reviews. We need to hit 100 reviews on iTunes to get a bonus episode. That means you get 2 episodes that week, and you can vote on what that episode will be.
Yes.
We will pick 4 topics, and you can, with your votes, can pick what that is. But we have to hit 100 reviews on iTunes first for that to happen. So if you want that to happen, leave us a review, and maybe you'll get 2 episodes down the road.
For free.
For free!
That means no money for you.
With no money down, you can get 2 episodes.
Which is that's more money than we get for doing it. So no money would be better than the money we spend to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, that's it. I've been Jason.
I've been Sam.
I've been Trish.
And we're going to be riding the light bolt out of here.
Woo.
Freeze.
Chad!
Where's my brother? Ow.
I don't know.
You're dead meat, Pilgrim.
Chet. That's her nose. Come on, now look, she has nothing to do with it.
Okay. You die. She walks out of here with a severe limp. I'll be back.